I guess it's only fair to say that if they were going to do a second mass release master grade from Endless Waltz, there was really only one Gundam that they could do. They did the Angel, they had to do the Devil. Yeah. Like the Wing Gundam, I did one of these a few years ago. This one was released, what's the date on it? This was released in 2011. I did one of these back when it first came out, and I remember it being very clunky and cumbersome because those wings are not very articulated. They really get in the way, especially of that beam scythe. But hey, you know, this is the only other mass retail Endless Waltz Master Grade that ever got released. So I ain't complaining. The very fact that I could get this for retail price and not have to, you know, scour eBay or Amazon and pay a premium for it like I did with the Heavy Arms and the Altron, or Nataku, which I don't have in hand yet. Yeah, just the very fact that I was able to get this at all, and that Bandai even made it for store shelves. Yeah, I'm grateful to them for that, but I gotta stop ranting about Gundam wing kits. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's crack it open and take a look. First thing to notice is that the box art is laid out in landscape as opposed to in portrait. So that's a little bit different. Usually landscape is reserved for the much, much larger model kits, like the Sazabi or the O, the ones that require a much bigger box than this. So it's not often that a standard large size box is laid out in this this landscape portrait, but it's basically to accommodate the large size of the wings and the beam scythe, rather than kind of cramming everything into a narrow space. But it is a very attractive piece of box art, really showing off the bat wings and the aesthetic of the Gundam itself. And in standard, you got what you got, your photos of the completed model, and then some action poses and whatnot, showing off also the TV series color version and then the movie color version. Man, we getting off to an early start. Obviously, this would be the Beam Scythe Blade. Copyright 2010. This is a unique part for this model. Obviously, it's not an adapted blade from another kit. But it's got a real kind of texture to it. I don't know how well that's coming across on the video, but you can maybe make out. It's not smooth. There's a lot of molded in detail in there. It's really, really neat looking. Next up, we've got the Scythe hand grip, and then the emitter itself. Some additional, I believe these would probably be like knee blocks. A lot of Gundams often have these cylinders on the knees, and then you've got your neck collar. This is probably the frame for the head. Wings. These are big. These are big and they're pointy. Large pieces of plastic with some actually surprisingly sharp edges on them, especially on the inside. These inset pieces would fit into the channels in here, so that they fit very smoothly. But yeah, there's definitely some sharpness to these. You could poke yourself pretty good. But there's some line detail in here. I believe these are to guide the folding, the hinges. So that the cloak can close smoothly and doesn't bind up so much. But there's some, ribbing detail and kind of some etched in panel lines here and there, but they're generally quite smooth. Polycap set, same as with the Wing Gundam. We got PC205, except we got this expanded little section here. A couple of, I'm guessing these are probably where the wings attach to the backpack, because they're quite heavy, so they would need a good sturdy polycap. And then, of course, these are the wrist ball joints for the hands. The Wing Gundam, having the transforming hands that retract into the wrists, would not require this type of ball joint. But otherwise, these are all the same as on the Wing Gundam. Some more wing parts. This would be the main back center plate, where it would latch onto the body, and then some folding wing parts for around the front. I don't think these are these are probably more for I think there's 3 panels for either side. There's the large one in the front, and then 2 more on either side that kind of fold around the back that attach then to this center component. But yeah, lots of rails inside for the expansion joints. And again, just some very simple, not a lot of etched-in detail. Frame parts, cabs, cockpit. You got the spherical cockpit interior, some chest vents, probably some head frame parts, codpiece parts, skirt armors. I would say knees, maybe parts for the legs, probably some side skirts, maybe. Not really sure, but frames for some sort of skirt armor, I would say. Our first matching pair of runners. This is mostly feet parts. In fact, I think it's all feet parts. So you got your main front, bottom of the foot, and armor plate. An extra piece, I'm guessing, is probably for the toe, on the skid plate on the bottom of the toe, and then the large spiked toe itself, and then the heels. We got our stickers. So foil back for the eyes, dry transfers, and clear self-adhesive for markings and whatever else. We got our A runner, so this is the system injected stuff. These are the gauntlets on the forearms. You got your main head pieces, side skirts, the clear lenses for the head, and not sure what this one is for. Is there an extra sensor in the forehead? Because it doesn't have a weapon that would need a sensor, and I don't believe there's any in the torso anywhere. But you got your eyes, your main forehead, and rear forehead sensors. Skirt armors, forehead crest, and Gatlings, machine guns for the head. We got some light gray parts. The face, I think these are either sensors or they're mini rockets in the shoulders. And these I'm not really sure. I feel like maybe they're like clamps that attach the wrist gauntlets to the forearms, but I could be mistaken. Some darker gray. This is mostly leg armor parts. I believe ankle guards, shin guards, calves, knees, part of the upper arm, wrist collar, I would say, and then the foot upper armor panel. There's not a lot of panel lines on here, but there's a nice one right on the front of the shin, and some raised detail here on the calves as well. We got joint parts for the active cloak. So this would be where it attaches to the main body. This is where that extra round polycap with the tab on it would attach, and then these would latch somewhere into the backpack. And then just lots of other joints here and there. So the active backpack cloak is very, very posable and very sturdy. I have built one of these before, but it's been a long time. But I remember it being very, very solid. We got our first shared runner with the heavy arms. This is the XA. So this has mostly arm parts and torso parts. I believe this feels like it's a part that was shared in common originally with the Wing Gundam, but I could be mistaken. It could be just a very similar mold. But this runner itself is just straight up duplicated with some parts gated off from the heavy arms and presumably most of the other Endless Waltz style Gundam Wing kits. We got a partial duplicate of that runner with the leg armor parts with some additional bits. Thighs and midsection, collar, back of the hands, as well as your pilot figures. So this is Duo in the outfit he was wearing in the movie, so the leather jacket, as opposed to the outfit that he wore in the TV series, which was more of a fabric style coat with what looked like a priest's collar on it. The seated pilot figure, it's kind of hard to tell what he's wearing, but the molding is nice, and it is recognizable that he does have his ponytail in both figures. Because yes, he did have very long hair. Armor for the chest. This is the complete chest and backpack. Much of the shoulder armors, codpiece sections, forearms. I'm not sure what these are for. We got our Soul Runner of red parts. We got the chin for the Gundam, some chest vents, the vents on the side of the head. These are kind of blades that are on the ends of the active cloak, which are super cool. I believe actually these all fit together. They're kind of, when the thing opens up, they poke up, but when the thing is closed, they kind of dock together and lock the whole thing. Looks like they actually have kind of latches in them to hook the whole thing together, so that when you close it, it'll stay closed. We got some white parts here. I believe these are parts of the shoulders, kneecaps, forearm gauntlets, possibly side skirts, possibly forearm gauntlets. I'm not really sure. Might be the other way around. Oh, actually, no. These are caps that fit over these parts here, and these fit all over the shoulders. They're just kind of bladed, spiked shoulder armor pauldrons. And last up, we got the XB Runner. Both of these were also adapted and used for the heavy arms. So these were intended to be shared among all of the Gundam Wing kits, subsequent to the Endless Waltz series. So these were not used with the Wing Gundam, but I do believe that they were very similar to a lot of parts used on the Wing Gundam. The shoulder armors, or the shoulder pegs, for example, the hips, the elbows, probably the knees and feet. A lot of these parts were very, very similar to those used on the Wing Gundam. And finally, we got our instructions. This was from an era when they were phasing out the old style of instruction booklet that had stuck around since the very first days of the Master Grade line, now instead using this minimalistic version of the box art with no background, just the extracted image of the mobile suit. Inside, though, is still pretty much the same. You got your biohistory of the mobile suit itself. So you got your TV version of standard Deathscythe and your TV version of Deathscythe Hell. You got your movie version of Deathscythe and your movie version of Deathscythe Hell. And the different costumes worn by Duo. This is the TV series version. You can see he's got kind of that, looks like a priest's collar. And then the leather jacket that he wore in the movie. Your parts callouts, and then assembly, as usual, starts with the torso, and then the head, and then the arms, and then you've got your center section, which always love this part. I can never not call it out. Always love these photos. And then just your kind of some information about the model, posability, etc. You can see the active cloak can separate into several different components that hinge open so that it has a lot of flexibility. After the legs, you've got the midsection and abdomen before moving on to the active cloak, and then the beam. Oh, it's called the beam scissors here. Not really sure why. It's not really a scissor. It's just a scythe. And then final assembly, and then your marking guide. And then now the paint guide has been moved to the back in this new style instruction booklet. Instead of being in the center. Now you don't have that same big splash page that you used to always get. But, hey, it works. Yeah, so after my experience with the heavy arms, yeah, these really do share a lot of parts. Like the leg frames, the arm frames, the torso frames. It's like 80% of the skeletons are the same between them. Like you could take the frame from this, pop a couple parts off, and adapt it to fit the heavy arms. I mean, aside from the torso, because the Gatling guns, but like the lower waist, like the complete arms and legs, I think, are completely the same. The hands are completely the same, which isn't terribly surprising, considering that in universe they were all derived from the same basic design from the Wing Zero. which itself was derived from the Tallgeese. But I'm eager to crack this, to get this assembled, because it does look awesome. Like, those wings, even though, like, they get in the way of shit, like, so bad, it looks great. You know, have this thing next to the Wing Zero, the two of them, like, on the back of a display with the Nataku, the heavy arms, and the Sandrock kind of in front, like these two, those two on action bases in the back, with the rest of them in front, would look just fantastic. Yeah. Still mad that I gotta go through channels to find the rest of the other ones. Whatever. Anyway, so that's it for this. I think that's all of the models I've got that I can show off for this round. I do want to do another quick vlog about my spray booth, because my girlfriend gave me a lot of guff that at the end of my last video I never actually showed the almost completed booth. We've got some ideas that we're going to modify it a little bit, because we never did figure out how we're going to attach the filter. But I'm working on some plans for how to do that, and I think I may have got something figured out. But yeah, she was very salty that I talked about it but never showed the finished product. And in retrospect, yeah, I kind of wish I had. So stay tuned for that. I will be showing that off, the finished version, and kind of demonstrating how I use it, how all the ducting and everything works. Probably in the next video. I'm going to try and get that out in the next few days, because I'm only home for so long, and I'm eager to get some work done on an actual project, like that the Abrams tank that I unboxed the last time I was home. I actually really want to build that thing because it's neat, and I haven't done a tank in a long time, so I'm eager to crack that open. So yeah, keep watching for that. I should have another video about the booth up in a few days. So thank you everyone up there for watching. Happy modeling.